Oh, right. It is Thursday. Sorry, it has been a couple of weeks since I've done one of these, and so I apologize. We'll be more regular. We'll get back on this, so we're doing these every single week. Um, Hopefully, you can actually hear me. I'm having a few technical difficulties today, so getting started a teeny bit late. Um, but Maybe someone can shoot me a note if I'm not being heard. All right. So hopefully the sound is coming through. So anyway, my name is Jay Bean. I am a long time um, individual, kind of in the small business local space. This week, I actually had the privilege over the last 4 or 5 days to be in LA, or last 2 or 3 days to be in LA at a conference. I was there for a few more days than that. Quite warm in LA this week. It's also pretty nice here in Utah, so that's good. But yeah, so went to a ball game this weekend, and it was very hot sitting out in the sun for a few hours. So, but that being said, um, last couple of days were awesome. We've not had kind of industry events, face-to-face events for a little while, and so getting back and having face-to-face conversations with many of the market leaders and individuals from the leading companies in all of the advertising space, ranging from um, even companies like TikTok and Facebook. They're on stage and being able to have one-on-one conversations and to learn about some of the latest technologies, where they think things are going. Obviously, we're in a very evolving space, and for businesses, we also need to evolve with those times, or we get left behind. Um, in my session yesterday that I was speaking at, actually, I talked about the last 20 years, and so it's kind of interesting to think about. And I'm going to tell you what I learned from others, but also I'll share with you first what I was thinking about and what I presented on yesterday at this conference. And thinking about the last 20 years, 20 years ago, right now, Google was not the largest search engine. In fact, 20 years ago, Google only represented about 15 or 16% of all search traffic. The largest search engine at the time, if you want to call it a search engine, was Yahoo. And so and I showed a graph of where we're at today with Google owning about 91% of all traffic, how things have changed. Bing is number two with a few percentage points. Yahoo's still in there, but it's like a little blip, right? And so it's just interesting to see how things flipped. But the other thing that is really interesting in this scenario, and I was talking to one of the old Yellow Page companies about this. In 20 years ago, 2002, we used to utilize and talk about how the Yellow Pages were so expensive. Placing an ad in the Yellow Pages, back page, full page, quarter page, whatever it was really expensive. And so when we were in the early days of paid search, when we're going in and talking to customers, we would tell them how inexpensive it was to get online and to advertise online and to reach targeted customers that are looking for a plumber in Salt Lake City or in Denver or a new Ford in Dallas or whatever it is. But when we go back 20 years, the reason that it was so affordable was because per click prices were 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 cents. Some click prices may have been even a penny. I can't remember. I know they started off as a penny in the 1999-2000 time frame. So it's really interesting when we think about this, because we sold against the Yellow Pages every single day, and it was such an easy sell because we could say, just move this budget over here, and you're gonna get so much more traffic, right? Today, though, maybe that Yellow Page advertising looks inexpensive. Just imagine being on the back of a Yellow Pages in Seattle, and maybe you're paying $30,000 or $40,000 a month for that ad, but now to get that same amount of traffic through Google and Facebook and marketplaces and all the other places that you as a business owner has to be, it's super, super expensive. You may be spending 100,000 or 120,000 or even more than that for that same amount of value. And so, so it was really, really interesting. I was in this session, and it was actually a large car dealership and then also Facebook, and they're talking about how things need to become more and more frictionless, right? And so I think as we think about, and there was a really interesting quote um, by Facebook, and they said, let me see if I can just find it right here really fast. I might not be able to find it fast enough. Yeah, he said a couple of things. One is owning and controlling your own data offline as a business is important. So like if you want to even interact with customers, why not interact with customers you know that are going to that already like you, that already know you, that already are in your neighborhood. But what was I looking at? Oh, this is it. He said, as businesses, you have to create the buying opportunity rather than someone having to search for it. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Thinking about it is every single day, we as marketers, you as a business owner, you're like, I need to put my business out there. So if someone is searching for me, they're going to find me. And but this comment that Facebook made was that you have to create the buying opportunity. And so if you think about owning your customer data, so knowing who your customers are and being able to communicate with them, know what makes them tick a little bit, so that's helpful, right? Creating a really frictionless way for them to interact with you when it's most important. But it's up to you. It's up to you to actually create that buying opportunity. So, and we at Fresh Diamond, we've been doing this for the last 5 or 6 years, where we're going to, let's say, an oil change company, and rather than hoping the customer is going to come back and get their oil changed in 3 or 4 or 5 months whenever they need it changed again, and hoping that they're going to come back into my ABC oil change versus going to someone else up the street, the way we do that is by interacting with them when it's most likely time for them to get their oil changed again, right? So we're creating that buying opportunity. And this is not new, like for these auto dealers. I mean, auto dealers have been doing this for years. I mean, it's called data mining, right? So they're going out and they're looking at your profile, and they're looking at Larry Jones and saying, Larry's bought a truck, a Ram every 3 years for the last 15 years. And so there's no use spending marketing dollars next year to market to Larry, but in 2 years we're going to be marketing to Larry and getting in front of Larry and talking to him about all the new features, because Larry has a history of buying. And so that's them creating that buying opportunity. But every business can create a buying opportunity. And I'll give you an example of a customer in a retail center. They sell chocolate. So just imagine them having 100 or 200 or 300 leads, and 400, 500, I don't know, you can have as many, they can get as many as they want. They have customers coming in every single day. So just thinking about, rather than hoping that someone's going to come in during Easter and buy chocolate, or during Mother's Day or Father's Day or Valentine's Day or any other holiday, they can actually create a buying opportunity by engaging their base, engaging their users, and getting their users in. And that not only helps their business grow, but it also, in this case, if they're in a retail center, it helps their businesses around them grow. And so being on that other side where we're owning our data, and I think that this is so important. And it was interesting to have someone high up in Meta, Facebook, that is coming in and talking about this, how it is important for businesses today not to rely on everyone else owning the customer data and the customer relationship, but you can actually own that relationship, and you can own that customer experience from end to end just by doing something different. I can tell you one thing though that was said. They're making fun of offline and how offline behavior is still not trackable. We know that that's not true, and we know that some of the things that we're doing here at Freshline today, we're able to take these offline interactions, create an online interaction with that consumer, and then also allowing for an offline transaction to happen. So offline to offline again is super powerful, right? We've always been able to track for the last number of years online to offline or online to online, but now taking offline and tracking that is super powerful. So now you can actually have much better visibility into everything that you're doing as a business and as a just because. And I think this was actually brought out. This was a local. This conference was all about local, so it's all about kind of face-to-face communication, and I think a lot of times and I was having this conversation with someone this morning, we think about how big e-commerce is, and you can think about it, how big e-commerce is, and e-commerce seems like it's so big because it's always talked about. It's what everyone's talking about on a daily basis, e-commerce, 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 e-commerce. But e-commerce still only represents 20% of all transactions. If you're a local business of any sort or local outlets, I mean, you're meeting your customer face to face. You're meeting them in their home, they're coming to your office, they're coming to your store, you're delivering something to them. That's all local. Those are all local dollars being spent. So out of every $100 being spent, 80 is actually going to come in local. So local, offline is bigger, 4 times bigger than e-commerce. So local commerce is what we need to think about, and local commerce can benefit from online. Local commerce can benefit from learning what the e-commerce guys are doing. But also, you guys have an advantage because when a customer walks by your store, that's an opportunity to get a hand raise. When a customer drives by your truck that's in a neighborhood, that's your opportunity to get a hand raise. When your technician's going to someone's house, that's an opportunity to get a hand raise. You have all these opportunities every single day, and there's millions of businesses, and there's mega millions of opportunities every single day where consumers are raising their hand and saying, yeah, I want to do business with you, or I can do business with you, or I'm interested in this. And so it's up to you as a business owner, and kind of going back to the Facebook comment, it's up to you as a business owner to be able to track your customers, to get customers to raise their hand and being able to interact with a customer. We look at how big some of these apps have gotten, and Facebook's actually in a very interesting position, right? Because they own some of the biggest messaging platforms, whether it be Facebook Messenger, whether it be WhatsApp, Instagram. All of these components are all about messaging. And so what is really interesting is interaction between two parties is what starts a conversation. A conversation and a transaction is never going to happen without some type of interaction or some type of conversation. Whether it's fully online, whether it's offline, it doesn't really matter. But something has to happen. Transactions are not just falling out of the sky, right? Even if I go to Amazon or I go to DoorDash and I order something, that just didn't fall out of the sky. I'm still interacting with something. And believe you me, they're going to interact back. You go buy, like what did I buy last week on Amazon, and I get an email a couple days later wanting me to review. Oh, it was a vegetable chopper. And so they're going to interact back every single time because they want that two-way interaction, and that's a way of them creating that long-term viability within their business. And you can do exactly the same thing. So the other interesting thing what TikTok is doing, and TikTok has built a different type of platform, and some people love it, some people hate it, but if you're in industries where you can actually do any type of education, people are utilizing that platform to learn how to do stuff. And and it doesn't really matter what it is, if it's learning how to make more money, if it's learning how to do ClickFunnels, is it learning how to um, bake bake something, bake a cake, if it's learning how to cook breakfast on a grill. It's such a great learning platform, and people are using it for learning. And so, as a business, if you have an expertise of any sort within your business, and you can go in and talk about that, um, that is going to draw people into your business. So let's say that you're a baker. Um, you can actually do TikToks baking bread and talking about the ingredients and how I do this and this is my technique and this is this. It's only going to help your business. It's not like everyone is going to learn how to make sourdough bread, but you can utilize that as a way to get interest, or taking your sourdough bread and putting rosemary and garlic in it, whatever the case might be. I mean, you can go through and and turn something that used to be on paper or something that's in someone's head, turn that into video that can be consumed in 15 seconds, 60 second, or 3 minute increments. Um, and it's such a powerful way to build an audience. And it amazes me every single day when I go into platforms like that and I see these, like, when I see someone that has some expertise and I go in and I look and it's like, maybe it's not like they spent millions of dollars going and getting 1 million followers or 100,000 followers, or I don't have very many followers, but I mean, but it's hard. But so if you can create something that drives that engagement, you're going to get people coming back and they're going to listen to it more and they're going to engage your content more, and they're going to share it more. And so it doesn't have to be way out there, but it was really interesting from TikTok. I mean, they see this as a platform that can help small businesses in a very, very significant way. So where you have that expertise, that's a really, really good platform and a really good way to do something that is just a teeny bit different. Um, and so I love this idea about creating buying opportunities. And the only way you do that at the end of the day, it's not taking the shotgun approach and it's not hoping that someone's going to come back. It's actually taking action. And the first step is knowing who your customers are and getting your customers to raise their hand. And once they do that, it allows you to do something different. And then you can utilize, once you have those customers, it's a lot easier to go take your 100 customers, your 500 customers, your 1,000 customers, and then re-engage them on the social platform. So you're talking to an audience that already knows you and likes you, and then getting them and creating those new opportunities for them, and maybe giving them reasons to engage you back, um, and so. But it's up to you. You have to take some action there. And we at Fresh Lime, we're here. We can actually help you get started along that journey in a very significant way. But reach out to us. We're happy to help you and give you some really cool tips of the things that we're doing with our other customers that are driving massive points um, of of helping them stand out among their customers and to be a little bit different. And we can help you in exactly the same way. Whether you want to be a customer of ours, that doesn't really matter. But we're here to help you understand some of the fundamental changes that have happened, where you can actually create some opportunity to create that buying opportunity, that buying experience for your customers, so you can grow and expand the way that you want to. And so till next week, thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate your time and watching this. And if we can actually help you, let us know. If you like what we're doing, if you have some topics you want us to talk about on the small business side, local advertising, local marketing. We've been in the space for a long time, and we're here to help you. And thanks again. Go out and have a great week. Cheers.